Welcome back to the channel, dear listeners. Tonight, we delve into a tale of betrayal, deception, and ultimate justice with our story titled, My Wife and Her Secret Lover Plotted to Kill Me, but I Turned the Tables and Exposed Their Devious Plan. Gather close and listen well, for this story will take you on a journey filled with suspense, unexpected twists, and a shocking revelation that will leave you speechless. So, without further ado, let us begin. Edgar grew up in a simple family of school teachers. They lived modestly, but his parents did their best to bring up their son well, to instill in him good qualities and habits. The only thing they could not give was financial well-being. But Edgar was able to achieve everything on his own. He tried his best, met the right people who steered him in the proper direction. And by his 40 years of age, Edgar was already the owner of a profitable business with an income of hundreds of thousands. 7 years ago, Edgar had the tragedy. His beloved wife and daughter died in a car accident. On that fateful autumn day, there was dense fog and the road was too slippery. The driver warned Edgar's wife that it was dangerous to drive out in such weather, but the woman insisted, as she had long promised to take her daughter to a children's performance. The driver had to agree, and everything ended up in a tragedy. A truck drove into the oncoming lane, the vehicle skidded, and the driver was unable to avoid a head-on collision. Edgar was deeply affected by the loss of his loved ones, and decided that he would never be able to tie his life to someone else. The memories were too fresh and painful. So he lived alone with a Labrador, his lost daughter's pet. Kind and generous by nature, the man spent all his spare time doing charity work and helping homeless people and animals. But one day, a miracle happened in the businessman's life, and it brought him back to life. He couldn't believe it was possible. He met Chelsea, a young woman of 25, who was strikingly similar to his late wife. She was so enchanting that after meeting her, Edgar did not want to part with her. They met by chance. Chelsea was walking through the parking lot just at the moment when Edgar got out of his car. The girl was in high heels and accidentally twisted her ankle. The pain was so intense that she couldn't move. "Let me take you to the emergency room," suggested Edgar, who immediately came up to the beauty. "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll put ice on it at home and everything will be fine," smiled the woman. Edgar, of course, could not let her go and offered to give the stranger at least a ride home. On the way, they got to talking, and Edgar was surprised at how cheerful, confident and sociable the young woman was. When they discussed pets, she sadly told him that her Labrador had died several years ago. She could hardly hold back her tears when she was talking about her dog, and Edgar realized that he had met not only a beautiful and clever woman who was very similar to his deceased wife, but also a sincere person with similar interests. Thinking that he was very lucky, he immediately asked her out. The first date was followed by a second, third, and soon Edgar and Chelsea were practically not partying. They went everywhere together, and it was not important where to meet, in expensive restaurants or small eateries, walking around the city, going to exhibitions or shopping together for groceries. The affair was developing so rapidly that very soon Edgar introduced Chelsea to his friends as his bride. Only his friends and companions did not share his joy and did not understand how he could be so deeply attracted to the greedy, in their opinion, girl. They tried to warn Edgar not to make a mistake by marrying her, but the man explained these conversations as the envy of his friends, tired of their family life. Despite the disapproval of Edgar's entourage, the wedding took place, and after this, many have noticed how the man has changed. He became more open to communication, was always in a cheerful mood, and willingly visited friends, proudly boasting of his young wife. But time went on, and soon Edgar began to notice his wife's strange and unpleasant behavior too. Chelsea became aloof, secretive, unkind, often avoiding intimacy with her husband under the guise of urgent matters. There was no longer that gleam in her eyes, which he had been so fascinated by when they first met. When she called someone or texted, she always went out into another room. One day Edgar even noticed his wife being rude to his Labrador and realized that a person who truly loved animals was unlikely to do that, and that meant only one thing. Chelsea had tricked him, for some reason, the first time they met. It was around this time that Edgar hired a new gardener upon his wife's request. "Honey, I love roses so much. We have such a wonderful plot of land, a lot of space but no flowers, and the garden is kind of untended." She dreamily began a conversation once, trying to encourage her husband to changes. "I want to plant bushes and plenty of roses. I want the house to be drowned in roses." "Of course, my love, everything will be just the way you want," agreed her husband without any suspicion. Thus, Spencer appeared in his house, and soon the owner began to notice how money and some valuable things began to disappear from the house little by little. Of course, these were small sums compared to his wealth, but Edgar, who had been used to knowing the value of money and controlling his spending since childhood, was not happy with such a state and he was not going to tolerate thievery in his own house. The last thing Edgar wanted to think was that Chelsea was involved in the disappearance of the money, but before the arrival of this woman in his house, such cases had never occurred. In addition, the relationship between his wife and the gardener seemed suspicious to him. While Spencer was working in the garden, Chelsea behaved with him in a reserved businesslike manner, as with the other staff, keeping the necessary distance. But as soon as they were in those places where they could not be seen from the windows, their style of communication changed abruptly, and they behaved as if they were old friends. Edgar was not ready to put up with being made a laughingstock and decided to gather evidence and reveal the strange couple. At first he thought about hiring a private detective, but then he gave up the idea. He could not believe that his wife was capable of such a thing, and it seemed humiliating to the man to involve a stranger in the case. The whole situation greatly disturbed Edgar, and one day he could still not stand it and shared with his best friend. "You should check her out, maybe you should play a trick on her to expose her," suggested his friend. Edgar liked the idea, and he decided to act. He staged an accident with his car, made sure that his wife was told about it urgently, and he spent a few days in a private hospital. After waiting a while he returned home and, in an atypically loud voice, told a concerned Chelsea about the state of his health. "Darling, I'm lucky to be alive, but unfortunately my head injury is serious. The bump damaged my eardrums and I lost my hearing. From now on you should write me whatever you want to say, and from tomorrow I will start learning to read lips." "I have already found a teacher," lied Edgar to his wife, who sighed heavily, showing how worried she was about him. "Oh, how terrible it is. Why do you have to go through all this?" wailed Chelsea, smearing fake tears on her face. Of course Edgar heard everything, but from that day on the man had to be very careful not to give himself away, and to be able to listen freely to everything his wife talked about with the gardener. He quickly discovered that this Spencer was no gardener, but a longtime associate of his wife. They were lovers, and had long been deceiving wealthy men. Now their victim was to be Edgar. They carefully gathered all the information about his interests and habits. Chelsea even had to dye her hair to look more like his late wife. The woman was a master of the art of seduction, and could captivate absolutely any man. The swindlers set up everything so that Edgar would definitely pay attention to Chelsea, and then she turned on all her charm and skill. Having gained the trust, the criminals were going to poison the businessman, but fortunately his sudden deafness blunted their vigilance. The woman stopped hiding from her husband when she talked on the phone with her accomplice, but in front of strangers pretended to be a hospitable hostess, so as not to give reasons for gossip. One day, Chelsea suggested that her husband go on a picnic together. The day before, Edgar had overheard his wife and the gardener discussing the murder plan in great detail, and he had prepared well for the event. "Your favorite wine, dear, for good spirits," cheered Chelsea, holding out a glass of the poisoned drink to her husband. As his wife turned away, Edgar exchanged the glass for another and made a toast. "I raise this glass to my wife Chelsea, who decided to poison me." The smile slowly slid from Chelsea's lips. The woman turned pale and began to shiver. "Yes, my dear, I am not deaf, and I know everything. And rest assured, you and your lover will not escape punishment." "I'm sorry, forgive me, I didn't mean." Chelsea fell to her knees begging for forgiveness, but Edgar only looked at her coldly and waved his hand at someone. Immediately the police, who had been waiting in ambush the whole time, appeared and arrested Chelsea. Spencer was also arrested half an hour later. As it turned out, the international police had been looking for the couple for a long time, but never managed to catch them red-handed. Edgar immediately divorced the con artist and tried to erase all memories of her from his life. And that, dear listeners, is how I outsmarted those who sought to betray me. If you were captivated by this tale and crave more stories of suspense and triumph, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and similar experiences in the comments below. Have you ever uncovered a secret that changed everything? Until next time, stay vigilant and remember, the truth all. Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the most jaw-dropping tales of family drama and relationship twists. Today, I have a story that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Imagine planning a peaceful family vacation, only to have it almost derailed by the most unexpected and shocking revelation. Buckle up, as I take you through this wild journey titled, "My Mother-in-Law Burned My Passport to Ruin Our Vacation, Then I Found Out She Has Feelings for Me." Our story begins with a man named Liam, who has been enduring the relentless antics of his mother-in-law, Isabella. Little did he know, this family trip would uncover secrets that would change everything. "My name's Liam and I'm a 35-year-old man. My mother-in-law, for whatever reason, didn't like me for a very long time. You could argue that it was because I was stealing her precious princess away from her, but she doesn't act that way with her other children and her other daughter-in-laws, sister-in-laws. I always suspected that she had a personal problem with me, which honestly to this day hasn't properly been confirmed with her. But I'm glad that I at the very least got some revenge for her stupid antics. Let me tell you the story. From the very beginning, Isabella, my mother-in-law, and I clashed like oil and water, like fire and ice, like pineapple on pizza. Don't argue with me. She had a knack for getting under my skin with her passive-aggressive comments and disapproving glances. Whether it was about my choice of career or my lack of culinary skills, Isabella never hesitated to let her opinion be known. This one time, she fought with me because of a rug. A stupid rug. Can you imagine? This is how the argument went. Liam, I can't believe you didn't get the rug I wanted for the living room. It's like you never listened to me. Isabella, this is my house and I should have the freedom to choose the furnishings. The rug I bought is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine? It's hideous. You have no taste. This is just another example of your incompetence. Enough, Isabella. I'm tired of you constantly belittling me and listing all my shortcomings. I work hard to provide for this family and I deserve some respect. Respect? Respect is earned, Liam, and you've done nothing to earn it. You're just so useless in so many ways. I can't have this conversation right now. Our conversations would normally go like this, with Isabella fighting me for something stupid and me leaving without engaging any further. That woman was sick. She definitely enjoyed seeing me angry, so I did my best to not give that to her. I genuinely believed that she had some sort of mental problem because the way she behaved was crazy. I often turned to my wife, Harper, seeking solace and understanding. Harper and I were a team facing the world together, but when it came to her mother, she often felt caught in the middle, torn between her loyalty to me and the ties of blood. She would listen to my grievances and offer comforting words, but deep down, we both knew that Isabella's ways were detrimental. One day, Harper approached me and said, Liam, I have some exciting news. I've been thinking about your situation with Mom and I believe I found a way to improve your relationship dynamic with her. Really? I wasn't expecting any surprises. What do you have in mind? I planned a family vacation for all of us. I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to spend time together in a fun and lively environment, away from the daily stress and tension, and maybe you two could work on your relationship. Harper, I appreciate your efforts, but do you think a vacation can really fix things? My relationship with Isabella is so strained. She hates me. She doesn't hate you, babe, but I understand your concerns. It's a chance for us to reconnect, create positive memories and find some common ground. Plus, Mom seemed genuinely excited about the idea when I mentioned it to her. Isabella was actually enthusiastic about a family vacation? That's unexpected. Yes, I was just as surprised as you are. Maybe this is an opportunity for a fresh start. We can focus on enjoying ourselves and work on building a bond between you two. I guess it's worth a try. If it means a chance to improve our relationship, then I'm willing to give it a shot. That's the spirit, Liam. I believe this vacation can bring us closer together. We'll make it a memorable experience for everyone. I was a little bit giddy. I enjoyed vacations, but I was also obviously worried that things wouldn't even work out because Isabella was just hell-bent on making me angry. But I did say that I would try, so that's what I had to do. Slowly but surely, however, my hesitation grew into full-blown doubts. She was enthusiastic, making suggestions and even offering to help with the planning. This sudden change of heart set off alarm bells in my head. Isabella had never shown such eagerness before, and it made me suspicious. I couldn't shake off the feeling that something fishy was going on. Nonetheless, I kept my suspicions to myself. If I'm being honest, I think that I felt quite guilty for holding on to these suspicions. I didn't want to bring these negative vibes on our trip, and I didn't want Harper to be angry with me for being suspicious. So I kept it to myself. But surely enough, call it intuition or good luck, I found out the truth and I was right. But let me not get ahead of myself. Amidst the uncertainty, Harper and I prepared for the trip, hoping that the change of scenery would bring about some much-needed tranquility. A week had gone by, and our trip was rapidly approaching. We packed our bags, double-checked our passports, and eagerly anticipated the adventure ahead. Now, it's worth mentioning that regarding the passports, I also had a gut feeling that something awful was going to happen. Because later on that evening, Isabella called. Harper wasn't in the room at that time, so I answered the phone for her. Hey love, make sure that your passports are left on the table tomorrow. Oh, hey, Harper stepped out for a moment. What's up? Liam, I was expecting Harper. Well, anyway, I just wanted to remind you both to leave your passports on the table so that we don't forget them. Why? The trip isn't for another 3 days, approximately at least. Leaving them out on the table so soon can be problematic. I think it's better if we keep the passports in our bags for now. Harper enters the room, sensing tension in the conversation. What's going on, Liam? It was your mother calling, and I just thought I should answer. Isabella was reminding us to leave the passports out, but I suggested keeping them in our bags instead. Leaving them out on the table might not be the safest idea. We could accidentally knock them over or forget them altogether. Yeah, that sounds like a better plan, Liam. We don't want to risk losing them or causing unnecessary trouble. Isabella, clearly frustrated by our responses, finally said this. Fine, I need the passports out, especially your passport, Liam. You're so useless. I'm sure you'll forget it if it's not right in front of you. Why did you need my passport specifically, and why would you say that? Well, it's because you're always so absent-minded and irresponsible. I can't trust you to remember anything important, so it's better if you just leave them out. Isabella, that's not fair. I've been responsible and capable of taking care of my things. Okay, let's take a step back. We all want this trip to go smoothly, and we don't need any unnecessary arguments. Mom, we appreciate your concern, but I agree with Liam that it's safer to keep the passports in our bags for now. If you don't leave your passports out tomorrow, then I'm not going on this trip. Both Harper and I shared a look of bewilderment. How could she resort to something so unnecessarily stupid? I was done with the conversation, and I wasn't about to enable Isabella by nagging her and forcing her to come. Harper, being the sweeter one between us, decided to do exactly that. The call ended with Harper agreeing to leave out the passports as instructed, and I was upset that Harper complied so easily. You know, the reason why she's always getting angry over stupid things is because she knows that you'll always take her side. That's not true, Liam. I don't always take her side. I just try to avoid unnecessary conflicts with her. You know how she can be. But Harper, it's like she's controlling everything. She manipulates situations and expects us to bend to her will. We can't keep letting her dictate our lives. It's not that simple, Liam. Confronting my mother is extremely difficult for me. She's been like this all her life, and I've learned to navigate around her outbursts. It's easier to comply than to challenge her. I understand, Harper. I'm sorry for everything you have to go through. But there needs to be a point where enough is enough. We can't keep sacrificing our happiness for her satisfaction. I just want to have a good time on this vacation. I don't want tension or arguments ruining it. For now, let's just do as she says and hope for the best. We can deal with the consequences later. Fine, Harper. If that's what you want, then I'll go along with it. But I hope you realize that we can't keep enabling her behavior forever. Harper and I argued back and forth about this. It was hard to admit at the time, but this strenuous relationship I had with my mother-in-law was seriously killing my relationship with Harper. It was annoying to constantly bicker about her mother. Instead of arguing about normal marriage things like finances, forgetting to take out the trash, or not doing laundry, we would argue about Isabella, and it was getting out of hand at this point. We were arguing about this well into the morning. Maybe we should just cancel the trip, Harper. It doesn't seem like Isabella wants us to have a good time. Liam, the trip is in just 2 days. We planned this for a long time, and I won't let her ruin it for us. We're going on that vacation, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. We both shared a moment of understanding, acknowledging the difficult position we were in. Even though I was reluctant, I agreed to comply with Isabella's demands for the sake of a peaceful vacation. Deep down, I knew that this temporary concession was not a long-term solution, but I hoped that the trip will provide an opportunity for us to properly reconnect and find strength together, as was the original intention of the trip. The next day arrived, and I was going about my day at work, trying to focus on my tasks and push aside the tension caused by Isabella's constant presence in our lives. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until I received a FaceTime request from her. I hesitated for a moment, contemplating whether to answer or not, but curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to see what she wanted. As I answered the call, my heart skipped a beat when I saw Isabella's face twisted into a malicious expression I had never witnessed before. It sent a chill down my spine, and I couldn't help but brace myself for whatever was about to unfold. Well, if it isn't Liam. I'm actually surprised that you answered my call. Honestly, I could say the same. What do you want, Isabella? Oh, nothing much. Just thought I'd share some of my thoughts with you. I'm listening. I hate you, Liam. I've always hated you. You're a worthless excuse for a man, and I can't stand to see you succeed. This isn't news, Isabella, but one thing I want to know is why. What did I ever do to you? I can't bear the thought of you being happy with her. You two, always laughing and enjoying yourselves. What is there to enjoy? You don't want to see your own daughter happy? What a pathetic excuse for a mother. Me, pathetic? I'm just trying to protect my daughter. You make her believe that there aren't any problems in this world. She's too jovial and naive. You're making her dumb and clueless, just like you. That literally doesn't make any sense, Isabella. You've always tried to undermine me with the way that you speak to me. Anyone can see that you're obviously obsessed with me. Isabella's face turned from malice to embarrassment. It was like I caught her in something. She wasn't expecting me to say that, and she subsequently blushed at my words. Wait. You're not obsessed with me, are you? Well, I don't know what you mean. What are you trying to say? Oh my God, Isabella. Do you have feelings for me? What? Are you crazy? That's crazy. Why would I have feelings for you? You of all people. Don't be ridiculous. I don't even think about you. Well then, why are you so obsessed with grinding me down? It's like you're a little schoolgirl and you have a crush on me. You remember how it was back then. If someone used to like you, they'd treat you like crap. This honestly has the same vibes. If I'm lying, then tell me, because I just don't understand why you hate me so much. Well, you see, the thing is. That's disgusting, Isabella. How could you have feelings for your sister-in-law? Well, what I was going to say before you cut me off is that I don't have feelings for you. So you can just shut up. Then why can't you stand the thought of Harper and I being together? Why don't you want us to be happy? Just shut up. Don't speak. I came here to do one thing, and after your preposterous allegations, I'm going to go ahead and do it with extra pride. As Isabella was speaking, I noticed her bringing up a passport to the camera's view. I was surprised to see the flickering flame of a lighter in her other hand. She sensed my confusion and began to smile that devilish smile she donned at the beginning of the call. And then she set the passport on fire. She began to laugh, but I didn't say anything. I just looked at her sternly with disgust and disappointment. She reveled in her malicious laughter, relishing in the destruction she had caused. You see, Liam, I hate you so much that I was willing to burn your passport into ashes. You will not go on this trip. You should just think of divorcing my daughter and moving to find someone else. What? Someone like you? I never said I don't like you, damn it. I'm certainly not obsessed with you. You're just delusional. Right. Well, okay. Why aren't you enraged right now? Didn't you see what I just did? I just burnt your passport, you fool. Yes, I did see what you did. But you got one thing wrong, though. That's not my passport. What? As she was exclaiming in shock and disbelief, I pulled out my passport from my laptop bag and showed her that I had it in my possession. Yep, got my passport right here. It turns out that when you tell people that they're useless and that they always forget things, they begin to be a bit more conscientious of their belongings. I thought it best to keep my passport with me because I could tell that you were up to something. But I told you to keep your passports out. That's why I'm at your place. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't fall for your vindictive plan, Isabella. I mean, what is wrong with you? Why would you even do something like that? Then whose passport did I burn? There's Isabella's here. Yours was meant to be here. Well, it's funny you ask that because if you recall, you left your passport here 2 weeks ago when you got back from Canada. I'm guessing that you thought you had it in your possession all this time. I laughed as I watched Isabella's face twist from anger to shock and then to embarrassment as she slowly realized that the passport that she burnt was her own. You made me do this. Sweetie, I didn't make you do anything. You're the one who wanted the passports to be out. I took out all 3 and left them on the table in the foyer just like you asked. But I knew that you had to be up to something, so I decided to keep mine with me. Honestly, you should blame yourself. Why didn't you open the passport and check the names? I did. I checked the first passport and it was Harper's. Then I didn't think that I needed to check the second one since I thought it was yours and I had forgotten that I left my passport at your house. Isabella began to whine about how all of this wasn't fair, but just like in the movies, she was yet another stupid villain with a stupid plan that went all wrong. She was hoisted by her own petard, as all the fancy people say, and I was enjoying the show. As she continued to cry and shout at me, I said, "You underestimated me, Isabella. I won't let you ruin my life or my relationship with Harper. Your reign of terror ends here. You think you've won? This is far from over, Liam. I will find a way to tear you two apart. Well, good luck with that. It seems that while you're continuing to concoct your evil plan, my wife and I will be enjoying a well-deserved vacation. We're gonna have a blast. You won't have fun. Why do you two get to have fun? It's not fair. This wasn't supposed to happen." I continued to laugh at her in her silly state of confusion and anguish, and I eventually cut the call because I was tired of the drama and I was sufficiently satisfied with how things turned out since she was the one who brought herself to her own demise. I could tell that even after the call had ended, she was furious with herself for being so foolish. I went to the security guy at my job and asked him if he could give me the camera and audio footage of my office from the past hour even though it was against company policy. He hesitated, but after briefly explaining the situation and upon reviewing what was recorded in my office himself, he gave me the footage as a favor. I'm guessing he understood that this was too important and that the truth had to be revealed. With the physical evidence of Isabella's deceit in hand, I went home and revealed everything to my wife, and by the end of everything, she was trembling with rage. Is this a bad time to say I told you that your mom was crazy? Don't test me, Liam. I'm beyond pissed. Does she really have some sort of crush on you? That's horrible. I genuinely believe so. I mean, why else would she act that way? That's why she's been so evil to me. I'm guessing she was trying to suppress her feelings, and her burning my passport would mean that I wouldn't go on the trip and she wouldn't have to witness us being so lovey-dovey to each other. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say at this point. And the fact that I let her in today, none the wiser. She must have called you and burnt the passport while I was out getting her medication so that I wouldn't suspect anything. Well, her plan almost worked. Had she just paid better attention to what she was doing? Both Harper and I laughed bitterly at the drama that was before us. Harper called her mother and with some very colorful language, berated her for her stupidity. Isabella tried to deny everything, which made Harper more enraged as she revealed the footage that I had gotten from work. Isabella, for the millionth time that day, was too stunned and embarrassed to articulate a coherent response, signifying that she had, yet again, been caught in a lie. They went back and forth with Isabella trying to lie and Harper berating her each time and presenting her with her inconsistencies. Harper ended the call with her mother very bitterly, vowing not to speak to her ever again. Harper and I went on vacation. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the greatest experience considering just 2 days prior we got some really shocking and disturbing news. My wife, unfortunately, felt like an idiot for not seeing through her mother all this time. But I tried my best to make my wife laugh by reminding her that her mother was the stupid one for burning her own passport. Although the vacation trip wasn't a 10 out of 10, it wasn't a waste because we did genuinely enjoy ourselves. I distanced myself from Isabella, considering her weird feelings about me, and Harper wasn't answering any calls, texts or emails from her, staying true to her promise to never speak to her again. Isabella then tried to get other family members involved in this by saying we're bad kids for not listening to her and what she has to say. She's just lucky that we haven't released the footage to the other family members just yet. So for now, it's her word against ours. But Harper and I are seriously considering showing the other family members the information we uncovered. What do you guys think? Should we keep this matter private or should we expose Isabella to everyone? If this story touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with others who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more. Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that's as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complicated dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is, my parents chose their 27-year-old lover over attending my wedding. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat, as we dive into the complexities of love, family, and personal boundaries. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My 27 male parents are in a polycule relationship with a man. I've always been mildly uncomfortable with it, just due to various features about the whole thing. For starters, the man is as young as I am, and he basically now lives in my former room growing up. I don't say anything about it as it's their life, and they can live it as they like, but I'll be frank here, all of it discomforts me. Nevertheless, I have my own life, and I still love them, and I try not to think of that in any capacity. They're happy, and that's good for them. With that background out of the way, I'm getting married soon, and I wanted my parents to be there. They were happy for me, and it was great. Then my 28, and I got to arranging everything for the wedding, and we eventually began arranging the seating. I wanted to run my seating plan by my parents, as they know some people better, so I emailed it to them and asked them to look it over. They looked it over, and then called me to say that I had missed a seat for Dave, 27, a fake name for their significant other. I told them I didn't think Dave would be coming. They said they'd all be coming, and I said I wasn't sure if that was a good idea. I tried to tiptoe to tell them not to bring Dave, but they were insistent, so I was frank with them. I told them I was uncomfortable with Dave coming, and wanted to share my special day with them, not Dave. I tried to explain why I didn't think it was appropriate. At this point, things took a turn for the worse. We had a back and forth, which devolved into a fight. Eventually, they said they'd much rather not come, if they couldn't come as a couple. I, in a moment of anger, then said, "Great, then don't come," in a passive-aggressive tone. I haven't talked to my parents since then. In a way, I feel like they've changed so much from when I was young. I still love them and wanted them to come, but this is just not how I imagined my wedding going. It's their life to live, but this is my wedding. It's supposed to be about me and my SO, surrounded by people we cherish. Dave and I have no relationship. He's a stranger to me, and respectfully, I genuinely am completely fine with that. I want them to come, but if they're gonna bring Dave, I'd much rather they don't. I love them, but I don't want Dave there. So, am I the idiot? Edit, we're not doing a +1 system. The wedding is only for the people we love and cherish, and their families that we love and cherish. It's a 53-person wedding, so, it isn't huge. Not the idiot. It's pretty despicable of your parents to behave this way, and honestly, I would be extremely uncomfortable if they were sleeping with someone my age, living in my childhood room. That's a level of creepy I'd never get over. Agreed. I can't believe how selfish his parents are. They understand that this makes OP uncomfortable, but they want to have Dave at the wedding anyway. Do what you want on your own time, but don't upset your child on his wedding day. They can suck it up for one day, but won't. His parents have effectively chosen this man over their own son. I'm so sad for him. I'd say the same thing if this was just mom's new boyfriend too, before anyone gets offended. If the son doesn't want the new guy at his wedding, don't bring the new guy to the wedding. How hard is that? They strike me as the type of parents who think they're amazingly hip, cool, and trendy, and think everyone wishes they could be like them. So, they flaunt their lifestyle choices and tell everyone in detail about what goes on. They're incredibly self-absorbed narcissists who fancy themselves as the head of their own imaginary fan club. They would totally spend as much of the wedding promoting their lifestyle to anyone and everyone who's too polite to tell them to screw off. I actually think this is far more complicated than people might first think. If we're really accepting of people for who they are, should that not extend to this, if they're in love and happy? You are the idiot, OP. I get that it's a weird scenario for you, but I'm not comfortable, is also what people say about the same gender partner, a different race, a different religion, etc., etc. This is someone who's viewed and treated as a partner in their life together. He's important to them, and if they're important to you, you're gonna have to learn to live with that. You can invite whoever you want to your wedding, but I also think you should grow up and accept that they're poly. Me and my ex divorced when our sons were preschooler and preteen. We had our moments but actually became terrific friends after we divorced. We'd even spend time together without our kids. We've both remarried and our spouses get along fine. In fact, my ex and her husband asked me to assist with their having a kid because he couldn't. They have a son who's a preschooler. He's biologically mine, but was happily raised by my ex and her husband. My wife is pregnant, and my ex will be in the delivery room with us when she gives birth next month. My tween is happy we all get along, but my older child is starting to have issues with it. He's always complaining about us hanging out and being over each other's homes. I asked him what was wrong with it, and he said it was just weird and to stop. I told him my relationship with his mom was none of his business. We'd be friends even if he didn't exist, so deal with it. My ex thinks I should apologize, but I'm not apologizing to a brat, dictating who I can or can't be friends with. Edit. I haven't been with my ex since we were married, and my donation was made in a clinic, and no one but me, my wife, my ex, and her husband know about it. I have zero attraction to my ex. We're all comfortable with each other because we've been friends since high school and have an unbreakable bond. You are the idiot. Your son is identifying that your situation is unconventional, and he's not adjusting well, but he's a young teen and doesn't know how to properly voice what he's feeling. There's a way to validate his feelings and still tell him it isn't his place to comment without being an idiot to your kid, but your ego won't see past supposedly being dictated to by a child who can't adequately express themselves. Don't be surprised when he doesn't respect you as an adult and may not even want to see you if you keep this I'm not apologizing to a brat mentality up. Oh, man, you're successfully navigating a healthy relationship between you and your ex, and it's so sad to see that you fail spectacularly with your own kid. The dude feels awkward about it, and instead of helping him work through those feelings, you got defensive and acted immaturely. You have so many kids, but don't act like a father figure. I wonder if Opie and his ex are swingers or having a polycule relationship, and the kid finally picked up on it, or if someone at school probably said something. Not gonna lie, being a sperm donor for your ex, who you co-parent with, is weird, in my opinion. Your kid's half-brother is actually their full brother, but with legally different parents. I'm an adult just hearing about this, and it's difficult for me to fathom. I can't imagine how a young teen and a tween would feel. Their whole relationship is strange. I wouldn't be bringing my friends around my parents, that's for sure. I can't fathom how step-parents are okay with all of this, especially the wife letting him father a child and handing it over. I'm betting that the kid's parents are questioning their relationships too. And if friends' parents are talking about it, the kid or his friends likely have heard the talk. I'm not surprised the kid asked them to stop the relationship. My wife is currently battling cancer, and one of the things she's told me she's struggling with the most was losing her hair. She's been given a near 100% chance of survival since we caught it early, but the chemotherapy has destroyed her hair anyway, and she's had to shave what was left off a few weeks ago. Not long after that, she suggested we attempt to get our nearly adult daughter, Anna, to do so as well. Anna has very long hair that she puts a lot of care into, so it was appropriate to ask her in private if she wanted to or would be willing to do such a thing. She told me she didn't want to cut her hair, and I figured that was the end of it. However, they came home from a girls' shopping trip, which they occasionally do, and Anna had a buzzed haircut. That struck me as odd after what she'd said. So, after dinner, I talked to her, and she told me that my wife had said she would never forgive Anna if she didn't show her support by buzzing her head. I asked her if she was happy about it, and she said she wasn't. When I went to bed, I brought it up with my wife, and she said it was Anna's choice to or not. I just told her how I'd see the situation. I told her off, saying she needed to respect Anna's personal choices, and that a nearly adult girl against shaving her head wasn't exactly out of the ordinary. However, my wife said it was to show support for her. I've been sleeping on the couch ever since. I love my wife, and I understand she's going through something traumatic. However, her attitude comes off as very manipulative to me, and that's not behavior I feel I can personally accept. I'm unsure if I can move past this to continue the relationship. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your wife is a flaming idiot. I'm sorry that she has cancer, but what she did to your daughter was very abusive. If she cannot deal mentally with her disease and treatment, then she needs professional help, not to manipulate and coerce your daughter into making a choice she didn't want to make. Make no mistake, she abused your daughter. Honestly, cancer or no cancer, if I were in your shoes, I would seriously be considering divorce, if only to get your daughter to safety. Your wife wanted to use your daughter as a prop for her cancer. She knows she will survive, but she wants the attention she'll get from it. Forcing your daughter to sacrifice something that's probably very memorable about her, so people can gush about it, is her way of getting more attention. It's unbelievably toxic what she's done. The manipulation is honestly shocking. The power behind showing support through shaving your head for a cancer patient is that it's unasked and voluntary. Just asking or demanding someone shave their head because you have cancer is wild. I think it's actually just pure jealousy. Mom lost her hair and hated that your daughter still had hers. So many mothers are their kids' first bullies. She was jealous of her younger, beautiful daughter with a head full of hair and wanted her to feel unattractive. I cannot imagine the daughter's shock and disappointment when mother-daughter's day out suddenly morphed into, dramatically alter your appearance or else you don't love me. 2 choices, pick now. Shaving your head does nothing for a person fighting cancer. It doesn't make chemo and its side effects any easier. It doesn't make radiation and its side effects any easier. It doesn't make surgery and its side effects any easier. It only appeals to the victim's vanity. If I have to be bald, no one around me should have hair. That's rude, cruel, self-centered and extremely entitled and very, very wrong. Tell your wife to grovel to your daughter for forgiveness and buy her as realistic of a wig as she can, ASAP. Otherwise, in one short year, she'll lose her daughter forever and lose you right now. I say this with much hesitation, but my sister-in-law, her husband and their child are all severely obese. Both sister-in-law and husband are over 300 pounds, and their daughter, tween, is easily pushing 200. The type of people to buy a smoker and giant chest freezer for $3,000, but fail to pay their mortgage or land tax and ask the family to help them out. And when they're called out on it, it's met with making sure my family is fed is my top priority. Not saying it shouldn't be a priority, but when you're feeding 3 people enough food for 10 people a day, it's absolutely an issue. Last year, we extended the invite to them twice, and both times, they ate food so quickly that many people didn't even know there was food available. I vividly remember them putting 3 hamburgers, 4 hot dogs and darn near a half a container of pasta salad on their plates and still going up for seconds and thirds. I wish I were kidding, but I'm not. The next time around, I bought more food. They ended up taking all the leftovers without even asking and without anyone's knowledge until after my kids wanted more food and everything was taken, dish and all, and they had been the only ones who left. So, this year, I didn't invite them. I can't afford to feed them, and quite frankly, I don't want to feed them. I don't want to have a beach day and have to run to the store midway through to get my kids something to eat when I know I packed and cooked plenty of food to last the day. So, I invited everyone but them. The day went great. We weren't hungry after for once. Sister-in-law caught wind, which I expected, and she immediately asked, we would have liked a family meal too. So, I simply said, I can't afford to feed you. She asked what I meant, and I explained as nicely as possible. Now, I'm being called every name in the book for fat shaming and embarrassing her. Not the idiot. Explain to them that there's a difference between fat shaming and greed shaming. They could eat a respectful amount with the family, then go home and eat 6 more dinners on their dime. No one would shame them. The fact that they choose to exploit the family and make others go hungry is what's unacceptable. Greed shaming is the perfect way to phrase this. If they weren't so greedy and weren't taking food out of people's mouths, that would be a different story. Who the heck takes food or leftovers when people are still at a party and still planning on eating? That is so weird. I'm gonna go to Thanksgiving and just walk out with the turkey. Why not? Land tax can wait. LMAO, gotta feed the fridge. And her first reaction was that she would have liked a family meal. Her response really says it all. They also wanted a free meal. They didn't go to see people, catch up and have fun. They came to eat, and you're the food ATM. Being together solely to eat is a type of party too, but then you pull your weight, no pun intended, by either paying your part or bringing it. Tell her they're welcome to bring their own food next time and that you want your plates back. My sister is 2 years younger than me. Growing up, she'd always come to me for help with things our parents wanted her to do alone or for money, because I had money, young, from helping out with my best friend's grandparents, who always threw us $5 or $10 for doing stuff for them. But, my sister was a very popular kid and had a bunch of friends who were popular, and I was not, so she never liked being seen with me. When we got older, it was worse, because she'd ask to borrow money, or she'd ask me to drive her home from school, but if I dared approach her around her friends, she'd get so mad and say it was embarrassing to be seen with me. She and her friends used to make fun of my best friend and me too, because he's a guy, and they'd say we were secretly dating, or he was secretly gay. She'd throw out some wild crap just to fit in. It annoyed me, because she'd want something when none of her friends were around. I'd say we weren't at all close at that time, despite me giving in normally, because I did love her, but she was crappy to me and to my friend. As adults now who are 26 and 28, our relationship got better eventually, and she improved a lot as a person. She apologized to me and my best friend for going along and spreading more rumors about us. She even asked me to be her maid of honor, which shocked me, because I didn't ask her to be mine. I thought we were finally starting to be close as sisters, but she started treating me like crap again. She wanted me to change my hair completely. My hair is pink and all textured. Then she wanted me to cover up my 2 tattoos, one of which represents my kids, and told me that I looked like a biker and not a bridesmaid. When we went dress shopping, she'd always have something negative to say about the dresses they had me try, while she was crazy about her friends' dresses. After a few months, she told me she felt like I'd be too distracting on her wedding day, and would I mind being a regular guest and not a bridesmaid? Something clicked for me then, and I told her not to worry about me being a distraction, because not only would I step down as her maid of honor, but I'll keep myself away from her wedding and do her the kindness of not being there, when she's clearly still embarrassed by me like she was as a kid. She freaked out and said she never said she didn't want me to be there. She told me I'm her sister, and I should be there. My parents and so were so disappointed when they learned what happened, but said that they understood my decision, and it was probably for the best overall. My sister's fiancé accused me of holding the past against her, and overreacting to what she wanted for her wedding day, and I should do better. My sister cried on the phone, asking me why I was being mean to her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister is the idiot. She never changed. At heart, she's still the popular girl who cares about what everyone thinks, and wants all the attention for herself. Apologies don't mean anything if the behavior continues, and here she is, shaming you for your appearance. Screw that. Of course she wants you there. She just wants all the attention on her, yours included. If you're not there, people will ask why you're not there. That's probably worse in her selfish mind than you having pink hair and tattoos. Honestly, because the truth reveals that she's an idiot. You don't owe her anything, just because you both came out of the same uterus. You are not the idiot for stepping down and not attending. I'd also block her and her fiancé's phone. They're mad that they can't use and abuse you over wedding duties, and her friends will note your absence, causing embarrassment. I'm actually proud of you for taking care of yourself. Good on the parents for not trying to force you. It's refreshing to hear that, OP. Often, parents are always siding with the perpetrators. And there you have it, a journey through the emotional turmoil of family expectations and personal boundaries. If this story resonated with you or left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a difficult choice about family and personal values? Until next time, remember, standing up for yourself can sometimes be the hardest, yet most important. Hello, everyone. Today, I have a story that is as heart-wrenching as it is shocking. It's about the complex dynamics of family relationships and the unexpected choices people make. This is, my mother called my son unmanly for kissing his boyfriend, so I kicked her out. Get ready for a tale that will keep you on the edge of your seat as we dive into the intricacies of love, acceptance, and standing up for what is right. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into this captivating story. My mom is a conservative woman. The apple fell far from the tree with me. My mom and I, male 40, already have a rocky relationship because of my religious beliefs. I'm agnostic. My mom is the type of person to try and trap you in her beliefs. Well, despite all that, she's divorcing my dad and going through the divorce right now, and she left the house. She came to my doorstep the other day while my son was at school, asking me to stay. I wanted to say no, but against my better judgment, I let her. I don't think I should have let her in the first place. She would only stay with me for the night to see her family in another state. My son is bi and has a boyfriend. His boyfriend usually comes over after school. They study here, and it simply didn't cross my mind that he'd be coming over. He ended up coming home with his boyfriend. He's aware of my mother's beliefs. I was stuck, trying to avoid an argument. I just said that they'd be studying together and left it at that. Well, I guess when he was leaving, they kissed, and my mom saw it, came to me fuming, asking if I knew about these sins going on under my roof. I reminded her that those aren't sins under this roof, and it's my house. We went back and forth. The argument consisted of her saying that this was way too far. He's only a teenager, and these phases shouldn't be supported, and me just saying to zip it and act like an adult about this and not traumatize a child or don't let the door hit you on the way out. It wasn't until she decided to go to my son impulsively in the middle of my argument, telling him he was unmanly and emasculating himself, acting like a woman. She said that he needs to stop trying to use women's people for themselves. No clue what that meant, and that he looks like a fool spreading the image that he's some feminine male. She tried saying he was going to the bad place, but I walked her out of his room. I told her to get her stuff and find a new place to stay. She argued that she was just saying it like it was. It's a sin. I said that if she focuses on sins, focus on hers with divorcing her husband, and we went back and forth for over 30 minutes of me trying to get her out of my house. Finally fed up, I grabbed her bags, put all her stuff in them, tossed them outside, and told her to get out. Or I'll get more extreme with this. I called my sister to come pick her up. She was waiting for 15 minutes, Mac's mom made it a point to tell the whole family, and they told me that doing that was an idiot move because they made her uncomfortable because we knew her beliefs. I don't think that's right at all. Their reasoning is a no in my opinion, but solely for what I did. Am I the idiot? I feel my only dumb move was letting her in, not the idiot. She claims to be a Christian, but skipped the verses about not judging or loving one another. Your responsibility was to your son, and you took the action necessary to protect him and make sure he knew that you would. Your mother sounds horribly toxic, unfortunately, like a great many people. I'm glad your son is raised by a parent like you and not her. This story has a hypocritical choosing beggar idiot, and it's not you. She disrespected your rules in your house, even while you were doing her a favor. She couldn't zip it for 24 hours. Even if she disapproved, she could have gone to her room and shut up until the morning, or left of her own accord. She chose to die on the hill. Think of it this way, at least now it'll be much easier to go no contact after this, and your extended family told on themselves. Grandma sucks. Get a rainbow flag for the front porch. Maybe it'll work like garlic on vampires, and she'll stay away. I'm 29 male, currently planning a wedding, and we're getting into the nitty-gritty details. For background, my parents got divorced when I was 5. The divorce happened after my dad fell in love with his current wife, my stepmom, Alice. They claimed they didn't cheat, but waited to be separated before anything physical happened. I don't know or need to know whether that's true. My dad and Alice got married, and we were living together by the time I was 7. They had my 2 siblings within the next 4 years. My parents had split custody, and Alice was 100% a mother figure to me. We're very close, and she's been there for me in every tough moment. She also helped pay for my college and grad school, which I greatly appreciate. My mom is a good mom, but we've never been as close as I am with my dad and Alice. Our personalities are very different. We're planning the first dances right now, and have my first dance with my fiancé, and she has hers picked out with her dad. Her parents are still married, so there's no drama there. But being so close to Alice, I really don't feel right excluding her and only dancing with my mom. So I asked her if she'd be comfortable doing one with me as well. She was overjoyed and cried with emotion. I'm really excited about it, but once my mom found out, she flipped out, said I'm replacing her as my dad had replaced her. I told her it's not a replacement, but she's been so supportive of me my entire life, and I consider her a true bonus mother, so I don't want to exclude her. But she doesn't want to accept that. So yesterday, my aunt, mom's sister, called me and ripped me a new one. I know it's a little controversial, but in my heart, it's what I really want to do. Am I the idiot for going through with this and having 2 mother-son dances? Personally, I've been to a few weddings with steps involved where there were 2 mother-son or father-daughter dances, and it seemed really sweet, not like overkill. I will do the shortened versions of the songs, so it won't be too long if that matters. Not the idiot. Alice has been in your life since you were 5. So basically, most major formative years and events, she's been extremely supportive, helped you get through school, and has been a true mother figure in your life, and you want to share this big event with both of your moms. If your mom doesn't want to share that time with Alice, no one can force her. But she also can't force you to snub a woman who's always been there for you from such a young age, because she's still hurt by something that happened decades ago. Yes, and I know it's not for me to judge people holding grudges, but OP said they divorced when he was 5. He's now 29, and his dad and Alice are still together. It might sting, but it's also reality. OP's mom must come to terms with the reality of the situation, and now her son has replaced her. This woman stepped into her life and took her child. Their relationship is arguably closer. Wouldn't you have a problem with that? OP, when you're saying your vows to your wife, staring into her eyes, and telling her how much she means to you, I want you to picture your future family. Now imagine your wife having intimacy with some other dude, and your wife unrepentantly says, well, screw you, you're not good enough, and she leaves. So all you have left in the world is your child. And now you're looking your mom in the eye and saying, yeah, of course, she's just better than you. Dude, just wow, your lack of empathy for your mom is staggering. My point is that don't be surprised if your mom doesn't attend the wedding. Don't be surprised if you never talk to your mom again. Dude, your mom's life was burned to the ground, and now you're hugging and dancing with the woman who lit the match in front of a crowd. Man, I just can't fathom hating my mom that much, but you do, you idiot. I agree. If Alice was a good person, she would manage some empathy for the woman who's OP's actual mom. She could say, honey, that is such an honor to be asked, but I don't want to hurt your mom. And as a mother myself, I know just how hurtful it would be. You should share that special mom dance with just her. OP, this woman broke your family and then warmed her way into your heart with money, and you're saying it puts her on the same level as your real mother? Wow. I, female 29, own my own apartment. It was inherited, and I know I'm extremely lucky. However, to be able to keep the apartment, I rent out a room. We share a kitchen, a living room, and a bathroom, and have separate bedrooms. When my current roommate, female 26, signed the contract, I reviewed it with her. Mostly standard stuff, but one section is added that no cats or babies. Children are allowed. Cats because I'm highly allergic, and children because I don't want to live with a child. Children visiting is fine. We have an agreement that any long-term visitors will need to be cleared by the other person. Breaking those rules will lead to eviction. We get along great. We're quite similar in our habits. She always pays her rent on time, and there is no food stealing. After about a year, she calls me into the bathroom one day. Standing in front of the mirror in a foreign-fitting stretchy dress, she looks at her stomach. She asks me if I think the dress still fits her. I could see her stomach was bigger, but I sometimes look like that in the evening, so I assumed she was bloated. I brush it off and say she looks fine. We should normalize being bloated at the end of the day. She gives me a weird look before she says she's not bloated. She's 3 months pregnant. Yep, that's how she decided to tell me. Anyway, I'm kind of taken aback as it came out of the blue. She's never mentioned it before or wanting a kid or a boyfriend. Found out the pregnancy was from a one-night stand. After probably looking like an idiot for a few seconds, I calmly congratulated her. Not with a lot of enthusiasm per se, as I really don't get excited about the idea of pregnancy and babies, and this really was a surprise. But I was polite enough after an awkward silence before I made up an excuse to have to go study. A few weeks go by and we kind of just go back to normal. While making dinner one evening, I ask her if she's found a new place to stay. She's really confused and asks what I mean. I reminded her of the contract she signed that says no babies can live here. I tell her that she can stay up until the baby comes, but it's wise to look for a new place soon. I don't know if she assumed she'd be able to continue to stay here with the baby, but I guess so. A few days later, I started getting texts from her friends calling me an idiot for kicking out a pregnant woman on the street. She has like 5 months to find a new place, and I charge a pretty average rent for the room, so it's not like she can't afford other places with roommates. I completely understand why I might seem like an idiot to some, but I genuinely think I'm in the right here. Why should I ignore my boundaries and comfort because my roommate decided to have a baby when she knew from the beginning it's a deal breaker to live here? Anyway, I guess I'm here to get a wider perspective on this. Not the idiot. It's your apartment and she signed a contract. Getting knocked up does not automatically qualify you for exceptions. You haven't kicked her out. You've told her she needs to find a new living situation. She has months to find a new place, and all those friends calling and texting you can offer up their home for her to stay. Did she think you would help raise this baby and just forget about the contract? When was she going to tell you? LOL. If she thinks she's going to do this all by herself, maybe she doesn't understand what's about to happen here, because it's hard for me to imagine how you wouldn't get pulled into helping all the time, or at the very least, being very inconvenienced and looking like a jerk when you tell you won't help out when she's exhausted and sleep deprived. So, I completely understand why you'd want to keep the boundary. Exactly. She did agree to the contract. No babies means no babies. You were never the kind of besties that you'd put up with someone else's baby, and you gave her 5 months' notice as well. Her financial situation is not yours to solve, and it's much kinder to be firm about this now than when she comes home from the hospital and finds her stuff on the curb. My wife and I have been married for a decade. She's a stay-at-home wife and we have no children. She has a daughter from a previous relationship, Sarah, and we've gotten along for the most part. Sarah's a junior in college pursuing a biology degree with additional courses required by medical schools. She's dreamed of being a doctor and helping people since her mom and I met. The problem is, she could be a better student. She's failed her biology 1 class and had to retake it to get a B. She really struggled in her next level biology class and finished with a C. She also got a C in her chemistry class. She got a B in calculus 1 and 2. She's making A's in her non-science and non-math classes, so they're padding her GPA, which is at a 3.2. This semester, I just learned that she'd make B's and C's in her science and math classes. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know any doctors, but I did online research. I discovered that medical schools require many things, but at the top of the list is a high GPA and top grades in science and math classes. Unfortunately, with Sarah's grades, she's not getting into any medical school. I even looked into nursing school to see if I could talk her into going that route, and all the ones I looked at require higher grades than she has. I talked with my wife about it, and she said that medical schools look at other things besides grades, and that's where Sarah excels. She has a solid volunteer resume, and she cares about people. I argue none of that mattered if her grades weren't good enough. She argues that Sarah will do great in the interviews. As I said, I have no experience with medical school, so I can't argue with her logic. Instead, I talked with Sarah when she came home for Thanksgiving and told her to look into another major because she might not be cut out to be a doctor. She ran to her mom, and we all got into a huge argument. I lost my temper and yelled that I'm not wasting any more money on something she'll fail in. I told them both I'm not paying for next semester's classes unless she changes her major to something more realistic. I feel bad, I do, but I'm not rich, and I don't have money to waste if she doesn't have a chance to get into medical school. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Medical schools are very competitive, and everyone has a minimum GPA requirement. If her GPA is below that, they'll automatically reject her without the chance of an interview. Sometimes being a good parent is putting a stop to the madness and saying no, even though it's hard. I would go and speak with some professors and guidance counselors about this and see what they say, then have her go with you before any decision is made about her future. Is she aware of the work that goes into being a doctor? What would it be like? Can she do some work at a hospital and see how hard it is? See if nursing is best for her? You are the idiot. It's your money, but to tell your stepdaughter out of nowhere that you cut the money isn't nice. Give her 1 semester to achieve better grades and prove herself, then she'd know what she had to do and what was on the line. I'm a successful engineer. Do you know what I had to calculus 1 and 3? Do you know what I never used since school? Any of my college classes. While a different career path, classes don't correlate to real-world experiences. Next time you go to your doctor's office, please ask your doctor about the last time they used calculus 1 or 2 in treating a patient. You are the idiot. It's not wasteful just because she doesn't have a 4.0. I've usually gotten along with all my son's teachers until now. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a single mom from my son's 3rd grade class and she was complaining about how hard it is to be a single mom. Then she said, "You single dads have it so much easier than single moms." The stuff she was complaining about seemed more about her being lazy, and it's not like her kid's dad isn't as involved as she is. I, on the other hand, am raising a preschooler and a young child solo. There's no child support, no one to take them off my hands, etc. I can't tell you how helpful it is when both have an after-school play date with other kids. Parents take little stuff like that for granted. In response, I told the single mom, "It's not that I have it easier, it's that I have my act together." She was offended by my remark, but it's true. Yesterday, I was speaking to my son's teacher. She's someone I wouldn't get along with, so I don't try to deal with her unless I must deal with her. She asked me if I thought it was helpful to tell other parents that they were lazy. I asked her if she was helpful with her grammar and spelling errors in her class emails. She asked, "What errors?" I said, "I'll send her some examples because I wanted to be helpful." So I did, and she hasn't responded. Personally, she should be paying more attention to her emails and less to providing commentary on discussions that she wasn't a part of. Not the idiot. Parents can't run to their child's teacher because of another adult. Also, if she took that as you told her she's lazy, then that's on her. She obviously knows it's true and got offended by it. Also, no reason for a teacher to mingle with parental stuff that has nothing to do with the child or education. I'd be petty too if she didn't have correct grammar teaching my child. Everyone's the idiot here. Look, I get it must be infuriating to have your parenting undermined by someone else, but take a breath and seek out the high road every so often. The mom was venting. Some people do a crappy job blowing off steam and bring other people down with them. Don't be like them. And while the teacher is way out of line to get involved with this scenario, your petty response was an unnecessary escalation. And there you have it, a journey through the emotional turmoil of family expectations and personal boundaries. If this story resonated with you or left you wanting more, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever faced a difficult choice about family and personal values? Until next time, remember, standing up for yourself and your loved ones can sometimes be the hardest, yet most important. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we have a story that will truly test the boundaries of family loyalty and support. Imagine struggling to conceive a child for years, only to have your heart shattered repeatedly. Now, picture being invited to a dinner intended to cheer you up, only to be blindsided by the very news that brings you pain. This is the story of a couple's heart-wrenching experience, titled, "My Mother Invited Us to Dinner to Support My Wife After Her Miscarriage But Shocked Us with Her Pregnancy Announcement." Let's dive into this emotional roller coaster. I'm 28 male, happily married to my wife, Sarah, 31. We've been together for over 6 years and married for 3 years. My mother, Laura, 45, had me pretty early on. She always wanted a big family and has been with my dad since they were teens. After she had me, she decided to be a stay-at-home mother, and in the space of 10 years, had 7 kids. So, I have loads of siblings. She's recently announced that I'm to become a brother again. Sarah and I have been struggling to conceive for the past 3 years. We really would like to have a kid together and consider looking for other options, but my family talked us out of it, saying we shouldn't trust our child with some unknown woman. I have suggested my mother or my sister carry for us if they're that worried, but both of them declined, saying that they can't have any more children and won't be able to carry. My sister has 5 kids. And just a note, I love Sarah regardless if we have a child or not, and I'm willing to adopt, but she really wants us to have our own. Sarah and I have tried a lot of options, and recently, unfortunately, she had another loss, and this was really upsetting and depressing for both of us. So, I've shown my support, and my mother, who knew about our struggles and recent news, invited us out to dinner at her house yesterday to support and cheer Sarah up. Sarah wanted to attend as she has a very good relationship with my mother. My entire family was there, and the dinner was going well. Sarah congratulated my mother on her pregnancy, and I thought that would be it. Then my sister announced that she was pregnant again, and basically, she and my mother ended up having the baby talk really loudly, where my sister was excited to have another brother, and my mother wanted to have another grandchild. That was too much for Sarah, and she got up and left in tears, and I followed her shortly after. She had to cut off her family because they kept telling her she was not a woman for not being able to have children and was too old, and this got to her too much. After we got home, my mother called me and said Sarah behaves very rudely, and she was expecting an apology as it has ruined the dinner to celebrate life. I got angry and told her that she was completely out of line and inconsiderate for having the baby talk with my sister when she knew Sarah had another loss, and her life celebration dinner made things a lot worse for both Sarah and me. I've also said that we would not have come if she had told us what the dinner was about. In the end, I was called an idiot for not appreciating another life being born. Am I the idiot? Edit. To point out, my mother has told Sarah and me that the dinner was to support her after the loss. In no way or form did she mention this being about the celebration of life, pregnancy announcement, fertility lottery, and babies. We wouldn't have come if that was the case, and we were aware of it. Not the idiot, but let me get this straight. They have shot down options that you and your wife have considered. Firstly, they declined to carry for you because neither could have more children. Then they both spend the dinner allegedly planning to help consult your wife after a loss, loudly yapping about their pregnancies, the ones they claimed they couldn't have. Your mom and sister aren't the massive idiots here, and I say keep them out of any future family planning discussions entirely. I'm still shocked that OP will have a brother who's 29 years his junior. Or am I reading that wrong? Did they intentionally get knocked up to show off their functioning reproductive systems or something? Mommy, why did you and Daddy have so many kids? Well, dear, you and your brother are spite babies. Yeah, tell me you hate my wife without telling me you hate my wife vibes. OP, do you see a pattern here? This did not happen by accident. They manipulated you out of pursuing other options and lied in the worst possible way to manipulate you both to show up for dinner. They knew how much it would hurt. It wasn't a bug. It was a feature. Your mother and sister are annoyingly sabotaging your wife and your happiness. I would say OP's mother and sister very likely feel superior to OP's wife since she cannot carry a pregnancy. However, these women are quite clearly able to get pregnant easily, and for many women being so fertile makes them feel superior as a woman. That's beyond cruel, and I cannot see how they have any respect for life when they behave this way. I'm so glad you supported your wife. It's so heartbreaking to hear that she had to deal with this because she received zero support from her own family. I, teen male, have been in family therapy with my dad, his wife, her daughter, tween, and my half-siblings, kindergarten female, young male child. My dad married his wife when I was 9, and 15 months after my mom died, they met at a support group for people who had lost someone. Dad lost mom, and his wife had lost both her parents, close together, who were the people who helped her raise her daughter since the bio dad wasn't in the picture. Pretty quickly, her daughter started calling my dad, Dad. My dad's wife told me repeatedly in the first year that I could call her mom. She'd like it if I did. She'd love for me to call her daughter my sister instead of saying stepsister. She told me my mom would want me to have another mom, and that she'd want that for her daughter. So how about we drop the steps? We love each other like mom and son because that's what we legally are now. I said no. My dad told me I should give it a chance, that a mama's boy would do much better with another mom. It became pretty clear to them over the years that I was not into that idea. I used the half for my half-siblings once they were born. I never dropped the step, and I never called his wife mom, not even slipping up in a conversation or with other people. This all bothered them. So 17 months ago, they decided we should all go to family therapy and help smooth out all the creases, which to them is the step and half titles. The therapist and I have talked a lot over the months, just the two of us. She's pretty cool and knows what they want isn't going to happen. My dad and his wife started saying they wanted help for us to be the perfect family, and the therapist will always use the language, let's find your family's version of perfect, whatever that may be, which I think makes sense because I know for me, this will never be my perfect family. I also know they will never get the image they have in their heads. 3 weeks ago, we had a session with a fill-in therapist because our usual one is sick. During therapy, my stepsister felt really bad that I said stepsister after someone said I should take a photo with my sister. She also said she hates that I don't love her and she really felt it that day. Then her mom started talking about the perfect family thing. The therapist was not in control and had no idea what he was doing. I started getting mad because my dad and his wife were repeating the whole perfect family thing over and over again. I ended up saying we will never be the perfect family and I'll never see them as my ideal family, that I wouldn't even choose for them to be my family. It became a huge fight and I got grounded for 2 weeks for saying it. My dad told me he was tired of me not trying to make this family work and he told me I was out of line for saying what I did. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm so sorry that you lost your mother first and foremost. Secondly, your dad is a major idiot for trying to force you to feel a certain way about his new spouse and kids. And thirdly, he's a super turd for punishing you for what you expressed in therapy. This is something to discuss with your regular therapist next time because someone needs to straighten that man out. Reach out to your mom's family, particularly your grandparents. Let them know you were restricted from contacting them, but you're now old enough to do so on your own. Call, text, and video chat regularly. Build a relationship. Try to arrange a visit and outing. See if you get on with cousins your age. So sorry for your loss. You're not being unreasonable. Your father lacks empathy. He's decided not to face his grief but rush into another relationship. His anger at you is because you remind him of his failing to support you as a father and to deal with his grief properly. Your stepmother is an insecure idiot. My male teen, mom 39, remarried John, 44. He has 2 daughters, Kayla, a young teen, and Janice, a teen. They remarried about 4 years ago, and John's parents hate us. They don't like the fact that John remarried and hate me especially. But I think of John as my dad and Kayla and Janice as my sisters. So it was Kayla's birthday a few days ago, and her grandparents, who adore her, wanted to have a surprise party for her but keep it between family only. So when I heard of it, I was excited and helped with the cake, etc. On the day, everyone was getting ready, and it was going fine until John's parents asked, "What are my mom and him doing here? They're intruding on the party." They then told me I wasn't technically part of their side of the family and that they were clear enough to say it was a family-only party. I was upset and argued back, and during all the chaos, the surprise aspect of the party kind of fell through. And basically, Kayla came back to see everyone fighting. John's parents told me I ruined the party, and they brought Kayla plus Janice and John back to their place instead to celebrate. I think what they did was unreasonable, but I also think I may be the idiot because family dynamics are complicated. I may have blown everything out of proportion. Holy cow, not the idiot. Also, it's hard to determine if John or John's parents are the bigger idiots. I lean slightly toward John for not standing up for the woman he married and saying this is my family, like it or love it. Everything is wrong here except you, my dude. Stand your ground for you and your mom. So they were making a surprise party at your parents' place and expected you and your mother to leave during that time? That's just so much BS, especially since they didn't seem to have any problem with you helping them set everything up. Screw them. They are the idiots. They said family only, and you and your mother are now family whether they like it or not. What were you two expected to do, leave your home for a few hours and not attend a party happening there? That's unacceptable on their part, and I can't believe your stepfather went along with it. I mean, he is a 44-year-old man and left with them. That is the most concerning part about this to me. You're a young teen. This is not a situation you should have been put in to begin with. I'm finding it hard to understand why more people are not identifying John as the giant idiot. I mean, sure, the grandparents are awful, that's a given. But John saw this go down and then left his wife and stepchild to party with his real family? Really? That's an actual idiot move. I, 38 male, have 2 daughters, Nora and Lily, teens, from my former marriage. I got married to my current wife, who has a daughter, Jenna, a teen. Jenna has a disability. She's in a wheelchair. Before I met her mom, her life was pretty much inside the house. She was homeschooled up until I got her in a private school, but she still struggles with socializing due to growing up so isolated. My wife didn't want to, but I pushed for Jenna to get therapy, which I hoped would help her with her relationship with Nora and Lily. But the kids took their time to get to know her. So, yes, they did exclude her from activities. But I had several sit-downs with them in hopes of getting them to understand that Jenna is a normal girl and has so much in common with them, so they shouldn't feel like she's difficult just because of her disability. I thought things were getting better. But days ago, and while we were at a beach resort for 4 days, Jenna stayed with us while the girls kept going out. On our second day, I saw the girls getting ready to get ice cream. I asked Jenna if she wanted to join them, and she said yes. So, I asked them to take her with them, and they were unsure at first, but then took her. An hour later, my wife came to me saying that Jenna called her, saying the girls left her near one of the benches and told her to wait 5 minutes till they got ice cream, but didn't come back. So, we went there immediately and found Jenna sitting alone while the girls were eating ice cream and hanging out at a different location. I got so mad at them, especially after they admitted to leaving her there. I told them vacation was over for them and had them pack their stuff and take them home. Both were crying and pleading in the car while my wife and Jenna waited at the resort. I dropped the girls off and had my mom stay with them. Then I returned and resumed the vacation. Both girls and their mom were all over me about this, and their mom went on a rant about me favoring my stepdaughter over my biological ones and being a doormat for my wife. The girls were upset, but I explained why I did what I did. Their mom defended them, saying that I shouldn't force them to care for their stepsister and expect them to be her maids and stop their life for her. It got to my former in-laws, who blamed me for ruining the much-awaited vacation for the girls and acting irrationally. I questioned whether I messed up and went too far with my reaction. All I wanted was for them to be upfront and honest and not abandon her the way they did. Everyone's the idiot here. Are you sure this is because Jenna has a disability? Or is it because she's the stepsister? You can read so many stories about people being forced to be friends with the step-siblings and how badly that went. Yes, leaving her there alone was bad. And yes, you should have punished them for it. But it would help if you weren't also forcing them to be friends. Let them make a relationship at their own pace. Also, she's not just a stepsister, but also a much younger stepsister. No teen wants to hang out with a kid and play babysitter. I think OP needs to be clear that any punishment, and I believe there should be one, isn't because they don't like their stepsister. It's because they endangered her well-being. Yeah, I'm not condoning their actions, far from it. But I have to wonder, when you did these sit-downs, were you only thinking about Jenna's feelings? Or did you consider your daughter's feelings too? Because there are 2 sides to every story. I wonder how they feel about this. Given that they've continually tried to exclude Jenna, avoid bonding with her, and he keeps insisting they do, I would put good money on him only looking at this from her perspective, to be honest. Most step-parents realize at some point that you can't create a bond if all kids aren't ready or willing. OP's also pushing them to be his wife's stepchildren. And his wife has treated those kids a fraction as poorly as her own child by keeping her housebound, isolated, and socially undeveloped. No wonder they're acting up. Like, sure, the first impulse here is to be shocked that the kids would do a mean thing to another kid for another hour. But stop and think about the underlying conditions for a second, and you get the sense that there's something really wrong with the adults here. Exactly this. And your point about the OP's wife keeping her child isolated, housebound, and socially undeveloped is spot on. This woman was a bad parent to her child. Maybe it's good that OP's children are not around OP's new wife. And while he might be a superhero to his stepchild, he's becoming the father who'll be shocked his adult kids had no contact. I, 45, female, have 2 kids. Twins, male and female. And my husband, 47, has 2 daughters, 18 and teen. My husband is very strict with his daughters. Less with his oldest, obviously. And I think he sees my kids as his, too. He's strict with them. And my kids don't mind much since he's their only father figure. And he has a good relationship with them. He's very protective over all the kids. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday. And my husband spent most of the day with his daughter at his parents' house. So I left my kids home and told them I'd be back later. My doctor took longer than expected. And by the time I was on my way back, when my husband had called me, I didn't answer since I was driving. And when I got back, he was really mad and told me that I was an irresponsible parent for leaving the kids home alone. He said they were still young and couldn't care for themselves. I said they're tweens, not 6 and 5. He was even angrier that I talked back to him and told me I should have gotten a neighbor to watch the kids. I said again that the kids were old enough to be alone and they were perfectly capable of taking care of themselves for a few hours. My husband said he had had enough and told me that from now on, I have to stay home if he's not home before he went upstairs. It took me a while to cool down. I was really mad. But later, I wondered if he was right since my kids could have still gotten into trouble. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot for leaving your kids alone if you as their parent felt they were mature enough to handle it. They're not babies anymore. But holy smokes, the rest of your story throws red flags regarding your husband. Angry at you for talking back? Telling you when you are and are not allowed to leave the house? Huh? Is this typical in your relationship? Also, if he knew she was going to the doctor, why didn't he stay home with the children or take them with him? It almost seems like he intentionally wasn't around so OP would have to stay home with her kids rather than see her doctor. The husband extends his strict rules for the kids to his wife. I only see this getting worse if OP doesn't do something to nip this in the bud quick. If she can't, she'll have some hard decisions. OP is not your parent and has no right to order you to do anything. He has no right to get angry at talking back. You're a grown adult having a conversation about a disagreement, not a petulant toddler. How condescending. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. If this story touched you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful and thought-provoking stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And if you have a story of your own that you'd like to share, drop it in the comments or send it to us. We'd love to feature it in a future video. Thanks for watching.